John here from the nailschool.co.uk. Today I'd just like to talk about drill bits, or should we say electric file bits. Now it's quite a confusing thing with electric file bits, is that there are so many different kinds, and really you really only need about 4, although you will see lots of different ones all advertised and you think, well, which one do I really need? And as I said, in practice you need about 4. So I'd just like to go through the drill bits that I personally use and which are the ones that I think are all that you need. But and I'll put a link below as to where I get these from. So let's have a look at those. First off is this actual drill bit, which you can see here, or electric file bit. It's got like a little ball on the end, and some technicians do use this for removing the cuticle. I personally don't like it because I think really you should do cuticles in the traditional way with a cuticle pusher and cuticle nippers. But if you use this incorrectly, you can certainly put a dent in the nail at the back of the cuticle here, and then when it grows forward you will have a line on the nail plate. And you often see this on people's nails where they've got rows of lines going down the nail plate every time they've had a infill done. So use those if you wish, but they're not my preferred. This one is sort of a long spiky one, and it's quite rough, and people do use this for removing acrylic from underneath the front of the free edge of the nail tip or nail. Now personally, again, I find I don't have a lot of use for this because if you do, when you're doing your acrylics, if you make sure that you've got no acrylic underneath the nail before you move on to your next nail, then you should have no need of this. So it's a kind of a discipline. Just make sure that before you move to your next nail, when you're doing your acrylics, that you've no acrylic underneath, and you should never have to use this. But having said that, a client may come in who's been elsewhere and had their nails done and they've got acrylic underneath the nail, and you may want to use this one to actually remove it. Sometimes clients also have, perhaps the acrylic's gone a little bit dirty underneath. Then again, you can use this one just to sort of brighten it up a bit. This is a ceramic drill bit, and ceramics drill bits have come in now and they're quite popular. You can get them in sort of different grades. Here we've got one that's more rough and one that's quite fine. Now the fine one here, which I use quite a lot, for smoothing over the acrylic and for smoothing down the back here if it's a bit bulky here on the acrylic, and I'll just use them for smoothing down the nail, just generally all over, getting them nice and smooth. And I use this one more than any other one, but again, it's a fine one. Now you can get this in carbide or metal as well, and either is just as good as the other. And this one's more rough, and you can see it's ceramic as well, and it's got a rounded top. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a rounded top, and we call those safety bits. You can buy most drill bits with rounded tops, and that's so that when you're using it close to the cuticle, it's not, or the skin areas at the sides, it's not going to dig in and cut. But this one's quite coarse. Here's a carbide coarse as well, and I use the coarse or medium or coarse for removing gel polish off the acrylics when they come for the infills, and that's what I'll use those for. I can also use them for removing quite heavy thickness of acrylics. If they've had them done somewhere else and they are a bit thick, then you can fetch off a lot of acrylic with these. Also, when I'm doing a complete soak off, I will use these to thin down the arch area of the acrylic structure on the nail, and just thin the nails down generally so that when we do a soak off, they come off a lot quicker. But obviously you never go back to the natural nail. This one here is also, this is a medium carbide, and this one has got a kind of a chamfered top, and I find this one very useful, and we call these small barrel because they've literally got a smaller barrel than a large barrel. And the chamfer top is there to avoid cutting your clients. I do use this one a lot as well, this medium one. This one is conical in shape, and some people do like these, and you can get them more sort of like rounded, kind of, not quite round, but like pear-shaped on the top. This one is conical, and people often use these for doing infills so that you've got that shape that you're trying to get to follow the acrylic down, and they will use these either in fine or in medium or rough. But when I'm doing it, I tend not to use these. I just use the fine one here that I showed you earlier. Now the other e-file bit that you need is in fact your mandrel. And this is the mandrel, and you can see it has on the top of it fitted a fine sanding band. Now these are the bands that I use, and you can see that they've got this kind of chalky look to them, and we only ever use fine, not medium or coarse, fine only. These pull off and you put a new one on like that. Now the other ones you can get are these, which are kind of like got this brown look. I just think that these look a bit B&Q, or so we say a bit DIY, so I try to stay away from those, and I prefer the ones that have got this chalky look. And this is the brand that I use, which is Pro Sanding Bands, and I think these are from Medical, and these are about £3–4 for 100. So they're not expensive, but I only get the fine grit ones because obviously I'll be using this on the natural nail. Now, as I say many times, when you're using this on the natural nail, you must set the speed on your electric file, not like this, which is full speed. You need to bring it right down until it's on a very, very slow speed, and then it is safe to use on the natural nail with no damage and burning. So just remember that as well. So that's a brief overview of all the drill bits or electric file bits that I use. If you've got any queries or questions, please just drop them below, and don't forget that we do an electric file course which is accredited for insurance purposes, and if you want to just give us a ring or contact us on our Facebook page at the Nail School, we can discuss a date for you. So, thank you very much. So it's John here signing off. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.